Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, as always, presented by Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right. Just a reminder that if you have any legal needs, the experts at Heidemann Associates will take care of you. They are completely focused on you and making sure all your legal needs are met. And better yet, it's a flat rate. They're not going to up you with a bunch of hourly bill charges. Not how they work, because they're focused on you. Give them a call. You'll get a free consultation from Heidemann and Associates. All you got to do is call 801-472-7742.
Absolutely. We want to thank our other sponsors. Let's go with Igloo Outfitters first. Go to iglooutfitters.com, IGLU outfitters.com. Weather's starting to turn. You want to be comfortable at the games? Igloo Outfitters is a great place to get that done. And local business helps support local businesses. And again, as we've shared before, if you're a Lone Peak or a Skyridge fan, they currently have patches to go on those too. So you want to be able to accessorize for the big game. That is a great one. And then Advanced Windows. Go check out our picks video brought to you by Advanced Windows. They have an awesome fall special.
Yeah, they certainly do, Dusty. Right now, you can get up to $2,000 off 10 windows or more during their fall special. And even better yet, you can get 0% financing for up to 60 months. Give them a call. Just call 801-850-9100 or visit them online at advancedwindowsusa.com.
Absolutely. And, of course, want to thank our friends at Odeon, the artist formerly known as Modern Missionary, now Odeon Menswear. Go check them out. As I mentioned before, one of the biggest things, walk into a place, how's it smell? I promise you, it smells like a man's place. And I have their clothes, too. Those are great dress shirts. They're the most comfortable dress shirt I've ever had. So go check out our friends at Odeon. But, yeah, you walk in and it's like, all right, I can stay here. This isn't smelling like, I don't know, peaches and cream. It doesn't smell that way. You know what it does? If it wasn't Aquadigio, you'd swear it was. Let's put it that way. It's like last week with Coach Perry. So.
I was gonna ask for a comparison, but I didn't know if I dared. So
yeah, I thought I'd throw it out there. Yeah. So if you want to smell as good as Coach Perry from Davis, go to Odeon and they'll take care of you. But let's not waste any time. Let's go to our opening statement brought to you by Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we're going to start. Look, my opening statement, Dusty, it was a statement by the Bingham Miners. We talked last week about how beat up they've been. And yet, the way that the game started, we'll get into our game of the week, but the way that the game started for Bingham, man, it was kind of like, look, it might not be your traditional offense, but we're going to throw a bunch of stuff out there. I love the versatility that we saw. And, having Carson Sudbury back, what a difference maker that is for the Bingham Miners. One of the best backs in the state. Very versatile. He can catch the ball. He showed he can throw it a little bit as well. I love the game plan from Coach Roy Fernandez. And when you get the backfield going, because it's not just Sudbury. They got some other guys who can tote the rock as well. And then you got a sophomore quarterback that, hey, we're not going to ask him to do too much. We'll manage this game plan. And that defense, they can fly around a little bit. Don't write off the Bingham Miners yet, Dusty. They got a statement win on Friday night. My game plan, or my opening statement, this Bingham team could shock some people in the playoffs. They get some guys back healthy. The core is there, and it feels like there's a group that's bought in. They've had to manage a few weeks, but this Bingham team, they could make some noise in a 6A playoff run.
Yeah, Coach Fernandez does a great job of that offense, and their adjustments and what Coach Jones allows them to do. I agree with you. That's a team, if they can look like they did last week, and it was quick strikes and it was big plays, how much of it was surprises, we'll find out, because the week before was a tough sledding one against Copper Hills. You did not see that kind of offense coming out as we saw them against Harriman. That was really surprising. All right, mine, how about this? I'm going to go away from something. Normally, I was going to talk about, the demise of Skyridge at number 2 was a little quick to draw, or maybe the demise of Lone Peak Knights was a little too early too. But I'll save that for later, okay? That's called a tease. So we'll say that on there. How about 3A? It wasn't that long ago I thought, well, it's Morgan and everybody else. How about the Manti Templars? How about Manti? They're week 1. They struggled against Union. It was like, well, what's going to happen now? Then they lose to Snow Canyon. And since then, this has been an absolute dump truck of a season. And they go play against, they bring in, I want to say Corner Canyon View into Manti, and they rough them up. It was 61-40, and Manti was just absolutely spectacular. And it wasn't only just throwing the ball to my guy Reggie Frischneck, 6'4", by the way. You should throw him the football, especially when we show you on the red zone as much as we did. But Mason Starkweather was absolutely spread the ball over the place. He ran for 2. He actually had ran for 3. Bo Stevens had a night. This was from beginning to end an absolute domination. And now it could be the M&M championship game. Morgan and Manti. I mean, come on. Let's get some sponsorships set up and done for this one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I've got some other thoughts. We'll get to that as the show goes on. But, Dusty, that was a statement win for the Templars, no doubt.
It absolutely was. And I was so impressed with what we saw out of them. And like I said, and not have it only be Reggie Frischknecht was a big deal. Now, we had the game on a lot on Red Zone. So if the box score is wrong and Reggie scores some touchdown, Greg Sterner, slow your roll, put away the mean tweet, and just message me if I'm wrong. All right, Dane, best of 6A.
Hey, my best of 6A, Dusty. Look, there were some great games in 6A. How about the game that I don't know if anybody saw this coming unless you wear the red and black. The Weber Warriors. Look, we saw them in week 6 take on the Davis Darks and just looked like, man, they didn't have enough there to keep pace offensively. But, man, they come out taking on Syracuse. They needed a big bounce back if they wanted any hope of a potential region title, and they got it. How about Ketchakarne? 2 passing touchdowns for the Weber Warriors in this one, but it was Swain. I love this kid. In a loss against Davis, Swain jumped off the turf. This dude is extremely fast, had a pair of rushing touchdowns, but it was the defense, Dusty. They limited Syracuse to just 2 field goals in the entire second half. Jake Hopkins connected with Mays 3 times in the game, but not in the second half, and Weber guts out a 27-26 win. Don't look past the Weber Warriors yet. They're still in this thing in Weber 1 thanks to a big win this week.
Well, how about they had a drive where they had Syracuse, I think it was 3rd and 34, and Syracuse had a mishap on a play, and Weber took over the ball at the 1-yard line, going for it on 4th down, according to a tweet that I saw, the pretty reputable source, saying what happened that game. That's just absolutely insane. That's a good one.
Yeah.
How about this one? The other shocker in 6A, Lone Peak was dead. Lone Peak is gone. You don't have to worry about them. Well, they are the Knights who say,
nay.
That's absolutely right, because that defense was spectacular. You had, I think it was 4 interceptions. You had Nawahine returned 1 for a touchdown. Mayberry had 2 interceptions himself. But Matthias Nawahine's 45-yard pick 6 is the game-winning touchdown. I mean, this was an outright dominative performance from Lone Peak. Doing to Lone Peak, it kind of felt like that 5A championship game. Remember that when Boone Abbott was throwing the ball in place to Chase Roberts, but they wouldn't let him in the end zone? So similar to that, because AF would move the ball, and then this defense would step up. But Lone Peak gets a 17-14 win over American Fort, puts them at 3-4 on the year, but it sets them up for a huge game throughout the rest of the season. Gets them right back in that Region 3 race. Yep. Congratulations to Coach Brockbank and the Knights.
Dusty, I've got a question. We're going to save that for a little bit later, but one more note. I mean, it was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. Lone Peak did not allow a point to this high-flying AF offense through the back 3 quarters. Pretty impressive defensive performance once again from Lone Peak, that defense. Coach Denny, I mean, look, I know you love Coach Eric Kerr. Coach Denny's got to be one of the best defensive coordinators ever in this state's history. Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
Dusty.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, hey, where else do we talk about defensive coordinator if his name's not Casey Satera, who's now the head coach, right? It's Ryan Denny. The guy is
impressive.
An absolute stud. Yeah, year in, year out.
So good.
All right, best of 5A.
All right. Yeah, my best of 5A. Dusty, I don't even know if I dare do this one. Look, there was a slobber knocker of a game, a lot riding on this one. Brighton hosting East. You have Jack Johnson, had a rushing touchdown, had a passing touchdown, but leaves the game injured. And Damian Crosby in this East offense, they've started to find a little bit of momentum. Bubba Ellis has to come in. He throws a touchdown to Matheson, puts Brighton ahead, but don't write off the Leopards as Damian Crosby able to get the sneak ahead and a chance for East. We don't go for ties. We go for 2 and the win on the road. Now, look, this play, there's a couple different angles. There's nothing that's really definitive on it. But, man, that one from the goal line looks awfully close. Now, look, it was deemed no good.
Show me where his knee was first. Yeah.
It was deemed no good. Brighton wins 21-20. Obviously, as you could imagine, the East faithful and East sideline had a very different perspective of that call. I'm not here to run the officials out of town. Here's the challenge for me, Dusty. When is that play blown dead? And in fairness to that line judge, you can't see the ball. You can see where the arms are. Can't see the ball. At some point, the ball comes out. I don't know when that play's blown dead, but man, from that side angle, it looks like that ball's in. Again, I'm not here to to lay it on the officials. There's a lot of things that could go into this, but a really tough call. Brighton comes away with a 21-20 win.
You know, it reminded me of that East Bingham game. Remember that? You called it, right? It was a 2-point conversion, throw to the goal line. Was he in? Was he out?
Yep.
Very, 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 very similar.
And all the East fans are going to go back to that and say, we never get those calls. Here's the thing. There's no audio on it. You don't know when that play's blown dead. And it looks like it's up, but if the play's blown dead, it's dead. And secondly, you can't see the football. That's not being overturned even on a review because you can't see the football anywhere at college or NFL. The body looks positioned like, is it? Man, that's a brutal call. I feel bad
for the lineman.
Call.
Yeah, lands on the lineman, and that's his. Because man, that was a great game. That was an awesome finish. And then Jack Johnson got knocked out. That was a big thing. From one amazing finish, how about the same region? Because all this region does is beat the living daylights out of each other. How about Alta goes to Olympus, and this game goes to 4 overtimes. I didn't even want to talk about because you know my guy Luke Bryant. He thinks Friday nights look better under neon or stadium lights, and he showed out and got 2 touchdowns in the first half. Matt McKay, who's now splitting time with Neomaitelu, and it goes all the way into the 4th overtime. And Ty, I'll be the wind underneath your wings, Siegel, gets the touchdown and puts this one away as Olympus able to knock off Alta in the 4th overtime. I mean, just what a season for Olympus. When you talk about it, Coach White had an opportunity that he needed it, for his family needed to take the position at the district. 2 weeks before, you have players, starters, quitting that team. They're able to rally the troops, and every week, Olympus is a tough out, and I think it speaks to, we always talk about what does culture look like, and I would say this is what culture looks like. That when everything literally is put up against you, that you got dudes that are like, every week, over my dead body, is this season going to go down this way? I am so impressed that anytime Olympus wins, it's impressive, and these kids don't give it in. Congratulations to Olympus getting this win.
Yeah, huge win. And you think about it, they started 0-2 in region play in the gauntlet of Region 6. Such an impressive bounce back. Dusty, you mentioned this is a team that could have folded. They have not. They've been fantastic.
Been outstanding. All right, best of 4A.
Okay, my best of 4A. Man, there was a ball game, Dusty. How about Dixie and Desert Hills?
Yes.
Man, so impressive. Look, Dixie, I haven't quite known what to think of the Flyers this year. Desert Hills, there was a lot of expectation of Desert Hills. I think they were the preseason pick from coaches to win that region, even with Crimson Cliffs in it. But man, Rand Sawyer, he ran. He ran an 80-yard touchdown run, and then he ran a 66-yard punt return for a touchdown. Rand Sawyer helps run the Flying Flyers past the Desert Hills Thunder. Wyatt Truman had a 7-yard touchdown run with just over a minute to go. That was the difference as Dixie gets the 27-26 win over the Thunder. Flyer Nation flying high after Friday night. What a win.
Oh, what a win. That was absolutely awesome. How about mine? Provo and Payson, mainly because I feel like I've been picking on Justin Hydeman the last little bit. I've been picking Provo. You're just calling me out in the middle of the show. But how about Payson? This was a team we had a lot of expectations for, and we are always positive slanting. It has not been the season they wanted to have. I think anybody within that Payson program would share that with you. But they have Provo on the ropes, up 23-19 late in the 4th quarter, and then into the end zone. So Kai Aston, with 4.5 minutes left in this game, puts Provo on top, and they're able to hang on to knock off Payson 26-23, move to 5-2 on the year, and Payson falls to 3-4. Still shocked by that. I really had high expectations of this Payson team, but Provo, 5-2. Coach Chambers is getting the job done right now.
Yeah, so impressive. That Provo defense looking like Lone Peak on Friday night.
Oh, that's true.
Huh? Yeah.
I see it. All right, best of the rest.
Best of the rest. Look, Dusty, I was going to take this game. You already talked about it in your statement, Manti Canyon View. Man, what a win for the Manti Templars. We talked about how big it was. It was not Starkweather, but it was Starkweather on Friday night. Get it? Not bad.
I like it. Yeah.
The three passing touchdowns.
Starkweather Industries.
Yeah, there you go. Had 3 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing, 7 total for Mason Starkweather. Had 500 yards of total offense just by himself between the ground and the air attack. Hunter Stevens, what a night for him on the outside, 10 receptions, 191 yards with 2 receiving touchdowns as Manti. We talked about the statement when they get over Canyon View. Dusty, you said it might be the M squared for the state championship. Somewhere Richfield has something to say about that, just so you know.
Well, Richfield's going to get their chance. They're going to get their chance to prove it.
Yes,
right?
they
That's
will.
going to happen.
Yep.
So,
By the way, hey, one more thing about Manti. Number 1 scoring offense in 3A.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So, trust me. Plus, you're not going to get me to cheer for Richfield or pull for Richfield. I mean, that's an old region rival.
That's fair.
Manti was
that's
2A
fair.
when I was in high school. So, I got nothing but love and respect. And so, that's where I get to put, where we're going to go. Plus, I love the Templars. But, yeah, I agree with you. But I can't wait for that Richfield Manti game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Be a good one.
How about this one? American Leadership, it's been a tough year, and they had a small window where they were hanging around with Providence Hall, but Tui Fonua, I mean, this kid had a night. 1, 2, 3, 4 rushing touchdowns on the day. Who is he? A-Chain from Miami? What is this? But a 4 rushing touchdown on the night. And the Patriots, Dane's second high school, the Providence Hall Patriots are 6-1 after a 47-32 win over American Leadership Academy.
It's so nice to see Patriots doing well. Keep it up, Providence Hall.
He's a big Tom Brady fan. As you can tell, we're doing this show remote, had some scheduling things. Dane had to go fly the V up in, he had to go all the way to Moscow to go watch his favorite football team. So, but yeah, so since Dane had that, we're filming the show later. Vince, we're not spinning the wheel, but Vince might not have his Vince moment, but maybe this is the Vince moment. Vince, let's go to our topics.
Hey guys, it's Vince. All right. The first question we have for you this week is both Bingham and Lone Peak picked up season-saving wins on Friday. If I give you the choice between one of those two, who do you think revives their season and makes a run to U of U?
That's a great question, Vince.
That's a really good question.
Ready? Are you ready or am I going first?
Either way.
Well, let's say this because, first of all, we're a positive slant-leaning show. Okay, so if you agree with me, you can agree with me. But Bingham's offense is so decimated, and I don't know how they keep what they did on Friday alive. Now, Freddie Fernandez is going to go into the Hall of Fame. If we were to do like the High School Football Hall of Fame, Freddie Fernandez has got a jacket in there, right? He's got a bust. But Lone Peak can hang their hat on that defense. If Staley's not having his best game, if the offense isn't moving, that defense from Ryan Denny has already proven that they're going to get the ball back. They're going to keep teams out of the end zone. It's going to be a low-scoring game. So give me Lone Peak. I think Lone Peak, of the two, I think has the best chance and best team to get to Rice Eccles.
Yeah, that's not a bad take. And look, they say defense travels, right? So I get that. I am going to go with Bingham. And the reason why I'm going to go with Bingham, I love that Lone Peak defense. Dusty, I don't know what to think of the Lone Peak offense. Can they put up enough points to keep pace with what that defense is going to turn out? Look, it's great when you're getting 4, 5, 6 interceptions a game. But what happens when we hit October, November, and teams aren't throwing the ball 40 times a week? Is that defense still going to be able to generate the points off of turnovers that they've had to generate the last 3 weeks to keep Lone Peak in it? I think Bingham, what I saw from them Friday night was the special teams that can contribute, creativity on the offensive side, and they can run the football, and they're back to being physical. Look, they may not have to throw for 300 yards to win. I think that defense is good enough. And the other thing, I like the way their region schedule sets up to give that team some confidence heading into a postseason. So I'll take Bingham. But look, that Lone Peak D, they're going to keep them in a lot of games for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I don't want to be argumentative because this is a high school show, so I won't do that.
Okay, question number 2. At the beginning of the year, we said 5A was pretty much Timpview, West, and maybe Brighton. and then everybody else? Is it still Timpview West, Brighton, and everybody else?
I went first last time. You can go first this time.
Timpview West, Brighton, everybody else.
And everybody else.
Boy, that's a tough one. Well, look, 4 teams are going to make the semifinal. That's a news flash. I don't know if anyone knew that. 4 teams are going to make the semifinal. I do think that's probably where the cutoff still is. I love what we've seen from Box Elder, Dax Sumco and company. I love what we've seen from West. We've seen Alta East be competitive with the Brightons and the Wests. Springville, Tavita Valete is back to running the football. There's going to be a 4th team that gets there, but I do still think those 3 have separated themselves with the physicality, and it all starts up front. But I think some of the versatility they have offensively and the consistency that we've seen, especially going up against in-state teams, I'll say I still think that those are the top 3 teams, and then there's a little bit of separation before you get to the 4th.
You know, I'll say this too. I think the 4th team is closer to the 3rd team than I expected. And one reason we say that is if you look, we said Timpview West, Brighton, and everybody else. West and Brighton have absolutely been pushed to the brink in their own region, right? They beat Olympus by 1. Yep. They did handle Alta. You know, they're getting pushed to the limit. So we're going to figure that one out. But I would not be shocked if Roy gives one of these teams a game in the state tournament, or Box Elder, as you mentioned, or even Granger gives somebody a game. We still got to figure out who Granger is in this thing. So, yeah, I'm going to also say that I think it's those 3, but I think 4 is closer to 3 and 2 than I expected.
Awesome. All right. For this last question, both of you put your hands up. This is just to prevent you from scrolling when I ask this question.
Oh, okay.
There are only 2 teams. No, Dane. There are only 2 teams that have allowed less than 70 points in the state in 11-man football. Do you know who they are?
In all 6 classifications?
Yep. There's only 2.
That have allowed less. Say it one more time.
70.
They've allowed less.
Less than 70.
2 less than 70. Okay.
Dusty, hands up. Hands up, Dusty.
You can see where my hands are.
Dusty's cheating.
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. We go anytime?
Yeah.
Okay. Enterprise.
Wrong.
I know Manti's given up, or sorry, I know Richfield's given up 75.
Wrong. Richfield's only given up 66.
Oh, well then, hey, Richfield, there's one.
Yeah, okay.
Good. Richfield. And Lone Peak.
Nope.
75? There's nobody else that scored 20 points on them. I'm going to start scrolling here like 2 seconds.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Corner put 55 on them, didn't they?
Oh, I forgot about the Corner Canyon game. That's so bad.
Well, and yeah, anyway, Bingham put 27, or sorry, no, that
and
was
I'm a Corner Canyon homer on there. Yeah.
Is it, there's 2 I want to go with, because I don't know which one. San Juan?
Nope.
Oh, San Juan. No?
Duchesne.
Nope. And I'm so glad neither of you guys got this, because
hey, I
was the first to be on Pick Beaver. It's Beaver. 60 points. They are the number 1 scoring defense in the state. I was number 1.
First of all, we discovered Beaver together doing the Red Zone channel from a broom closet. So I don't want to ruin anybody's expectations of what happened.
Hey,
I was watching Beaver.
One of us has taken a pie for Beaver. I got Richfield.
Kind of.
Good job.
I'll give you a half a point. Okay, guys, back to you.
Well, thank you for Vince's moment. Boom! Vince's moment. So, all right, Dave. Let's go to quick hits. Brought to you by let's go Igloo Outfitters this week. Brought to you by Igloo Outfitters.
All right, hey, my first quick hit, Dusty. Maybe this should have been my hot take. Copper Hills is not bad. They put up a heck of a battle. Had to come from behind against Mountain Ridge. They were down 24-7. Bowles and Kitchen helped bring the Grizz back. Mountain Ridge does get the win thanks to Samisi Kinney having 3 rushing touchdowns. 27-22, Mountain Ridge with a nice bounce back after losing to Corner last week.
Well, how about Skyridge and Lehigh playing for only the second time in either program's history? So a battle of Lehigh and the battle of the reigning 6A and 5A state champions. And how about Trent Call? I think Trent Call is the Jalen Hurts of Utah high school football. This kid was the starting quarterback essentially all last season. McKay Hillstead led Skyridge to the state championship. He's transitioned to wide receiver, and Jackson Stevens transferred in from Davis. Kid had another touchdown catch. Carter Sheffield adds 2 more touchdown runs, and Trevor McClellan had one too. As Lehigh now belongs to Skyridge after the big win. I know there's some people be mad for me saying that, but it's usually what we say about when teams win a game or something like that. But Devon Eka did have 2 rushing touchdowns in the effort for Lehigh. But Skyridge gets a big win over Lehigh, 35-17.
Hey, Dusty, before we move on, show me your hands. Who's the number 1 scoring defense in 6A?
PG.
Yes, they are. The Vikings. Had to throw that in there since I missed the opportunity in our window earlier. We're going to move on to new windows. The window's still open for Dak Sumko. He just continues to run for 200 yards a week. Had a pair of rushing touchdowns in helping Box Elder with a slim victory over Viewmont, 31-28. Man, Tubby and the Vikings were tough. 3 passing touchdowns for Tubby. Mickens had 113 yards receiving with a receiving touchdown, and Tuaya had 113 yards receiving with a receiving touchdown as well. Box Elder gets the narrow victory, 31-28 over the Vikings.
Well, first of all, we want to send our condolences to Brody Benson and his family as his father passed away last week. Woods Cross was welcoming in Roy, and this is, and I don't want to take anything away from Roy because Roy was absolutely spectacular as they got all over Woods Cross. It was 51-17 the final score. Joseph Carianga second, the third, had a bunch of touchdowns in this one. Daquan Snyder had 2 long touchdowns of 41 and 56 yards apiece as Roy knocks off Woods Cross, 51-17. But Coach Benson, thinking about your brother, nothing but best thoughts and prayers to you and your family.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to slip into Region 4. We haven't talked a lot about Region 4 this year, but West Jordan Hunter in a sneaky Thursday game. West Jordan jumps out to a huge lead, 28-7 at the break. The Wolverines come rushing back. West Jordan able to hold on 28-20. Roybal had 3 passing touchdowns to 3 different receivers, and all of them over 32 yards through the air on each of those touchdown passes. West Jordan with a nice win in region play, 28-20 over Hunter.
Yeah, great win for West Jordan. Hunter just couldn't quite come back. How about Maple Mountain? They bring in Orem. I was like, all right, who are we going to learn about this week? I tell you, Maple Mountain showed up in this game. Banks Jackson, keep saying it. Quit sleeping on this kid. Banks Jackson had 2 rushing touchdowns, one from 13, the other from 69 yards out. And Tyler Hakes had a 30-yard pick 6 for Maple Mountain as the Golden Eagles flew past Orem 31-14.
Yeah, how about Springville Wasatch, Dusty? Springville having to head up to Ole Heber. And the elevation was no problem for the legs of Tavita Valetti. 28 carries, 201 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns as Valetti and Springville run through Wasatch 34-20.
Now, how about South Summit at Summit Academy? South Summit improves to 5-2 after taking this one 45-33. Stratton Stevens had a pretty good night. Bracken Lashy was throwing touchdown passes throwing touchdown passes all over the place to Gampire, a couple there to Mitchell, or 3 of them to Mitchell, I should learn how to count. Stratton Stevens also had another one for 44 yards out. South Summit, the Wildcats all over Summit Academy, 45-33.
Yeah, Lashley had 4 touchdown passes just in the third quarter alone. He was a beast on Friday night.
He was.
Murray and Hillcrest, look, it's been a tough year for both programs, a region battle, and Old Sparta coming up with the win. Lucas Barrett had a 45-yard touchdown run and tacked on a 61-yard pick 6 to help lift Murray past Hillcrest. Marcus Solers had 2 rushing touchdowns, 31-20 as Sparta gets the win.
How about the number 1 team in 1A, Enterprise? The Wolves took care of the Milford men. It was a quick little test there from Milford early on in this game, but Kyron Bracken had 2 touchdowns on the night, one on the ground from 5 yards out, and a 25-yard catch from Riker Phillips, as Riker also had a 1-yard plunge as well, as the Enterprise Wolves take care of business against the visiting Milford Tigers.
Ridgeline got a test from Mountain Crest this week. My goodness, that game was close. Crew Jones, Jackson Lindsay each had a pair of rushing touchdowns. As Mountain Crest, man, they made it tight, but Ridgeline holds on 34-28. Ridgeline with the win.
How about this? Timpanogos Battle of Orem. Timpanogos brings in Mountain View without their corner. Tage Litster, my nephew, season-ending knee surgery. So Tage is done, not going to play, not going to be able to play Lax either. He was a captain on the Lax team. I want to throw this one in because I want to throw a little shout out to my nephew, Easton Bretzing. This kid put on like 80 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He went from slot receiver to a bruising running back. 4 rushing touchdowns. Dash McCann had a top 5 play and a 22-yard catch from Chase Riggs as Timpanogos takes care of Mountain View 30-14.
Dusty, what if I told you there was not a single player on the field who ran or threw for more than 100 yards, and yet the team put 51 points on the board? You talked about Richfield earlier. Look, a pretty balanced effort from the Richfield Wildcats in their win on Friday night against a team unnamed.
Yep, we don't need to talk about them. Don't need to talk about them. We did beat them 70. We did beat them 72-7 back in 2001. But that's okay.
But hold on. But think about that. Not one player ran for over 100 yards, and the quarterback didn't throw for over 100 yards. Like, that's balance to get 51 points off of that kind of performance.
Yeah, it is. That is terrific balance. I'm really happy. We're super excited for them. Did you do trips and clips? I want to make sure I didn't mess that up.
I did not, no.
Good. I was wondering. I'm so mad. I'm so irritated. 2001, it was 14-7 at the half. We beat Richfield 72-7. I just want to make sure that's known. But congratulations to Richfield. Yeah, so happy for you guys. Really, man. Crimson Cliffs brought in Stansbury, and this is a battle of what's better? Do you want a Stallion or do you want a Mustang? Well, the Mustangs proved themselves. They don't make a car, the Ford Stallions. Really good idea, by the way. But Steele Parman hooked up with Boston Adamson. He ran twice. He ran in one from 11 yards out. McCord Christiansen continues to be an absolute stud for Crimson Cliffs. It was a big one, big routing, 62-20. Yeah. Crimson Cliffs all over Stansbury.
Yeah, continue to flex their muscle. Big win for the Mustangs.
Absolutely. All right. If there's anyone we missed, hit us up, let us know. And before we close out the show, let's get to the best part of the show, Rewind Spark Award.
All right, our Spark Athlete of the Week isn't for anything that was done on the field this week, but a triumphant moment off the field. For those that maybe missed it, the story in the offseason, Joe Lomu, a young man who had been running back for Cedar Valley the last couple of years, lost his senior season this year to a diagnosis of cancer. That diagnosis came after a playoff game last year, his junior season. Lomu's been in a battle in the offseason, facing cancer in his leg. And this week, Joe Lomu got to ring the bell, his fight over cancer victorious for the senior. Wanted to just say, Joe, congratulations, young man, on a heck of a battle. And, man, what an inspiration you are. Sometimes our Friday night dreams end a little bit early. But for you, man, what an example to your community, to your team. They've dedicated the season to Joe. It's been a tough year for Cedar Valley. But Coach Weston Zabriskie said, if this is the highlight of the year, we'll take it. Joe, congratulations on your win over cancer and for your dedication and inspiration to all of us here in the football community. Joe Lomu, our Rewind Spark Athlete of the Week.
Dane just trying to make us cry. I mean, you almost got me, man. But yeah, Joe, thoughts and prayers with you, brother, and just best of luck to you. So glad you got to ring that bell, but that's awesome. Well, hit us up. Let us know what we missed. Love to hear from you. As we always say, keep it nice. We'll get ready for Week 8 as the season rolls on. For Dane Stewart, Vince Francis, I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us. Check out our other videos. We got the rankings video, our picks video as well. We got some belated shout-outs to give in that picks video, but we'll take care of that. But hit us up at KSL Sports Rewind, at Dusty Lister, at Dane_Stewart. Love to hear from you. For Vince Francis, Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and watching KSL Sports Rewind on KSLSports.com.